Hey everybody, and welcome back to Wrath of Cortex. I'm gonna flip our way over to the third warp room and straight into one of the best levels of the game.
I realize my brethren have had some trouble with you, my little orange friend, but I'm not quite sure why. Is it getting hot in here? Is it safe to be wearing that fur? It looks flammable!
That's Pyro, the third of the elemental masks, and probably my favourite. He's got a fantastic voice. So this is the Gauntlet, and as you might expect for a level with such a name, it is all about obstacles and traps and all that platforming good stuff. That crate up there we would have royally boned ourselves on in an earlier level, but now we have the double jump. It's completely trivial. That exclamation mark box fills in these metal boxes to create a bridge to these swinging axes. They drop down, they're pulled back up, they drop down again. Nice and easy, nothing dickish about them. Everything follows its course, follows its rhythm, and it's all avoidable, provided you're not standing too close to it like I was there. This is one of those levels that goes along the into the screen bit for a while, then goes to side scrolling, then into the screen again. And these apples are here to draw our attention to this set of 9, I believe. It's either 8 or 9 boxes down here. There's 3 boxes behind this pillar. It's a bit of a dick move, but you can kind of see them as you're coming up, so I don't hold it too much against the game. I don't really want to say anything bad about this level because it's a huge amount of fun. It's not particularly difficult. I died a hell of a lot on this level as a kid, but I just find it so much fun to play because it's all dodging obstacles, it's all watching trap patterns. It's all that good stuff we love about platforms. I could try and slide that bottom crate, but it's way too much trouble. It's way too dangerous, so I just double jump and bust it from the top. And another trail of apples down to the bonus platform. This bonus is where we're going to see one of the real trademarks of World 3's bonus areas. Large amounts of explosives all in the same place. TNTs and nitros start appearing in large quantities together much more often. So I don't think for the rest of the LP we're going to be exiting a bonus level with maximum boxes, just because there's too many nitros in there to deal with. These you don't have to jump on. Technically, I think you do. You have to jump on a few to get over the first few, but after that you can drop down after the second or third. Why you would though, I've no idea. So in case you haven't figured it out yet, with the apples, we collect 100 of them. They give us an extra life. I believe, yes, it has taken me until the third warp room. I was going to say a third video, but it's actually the fourth. It's taken up to the third warp room for me to actually explain that, so it's kind of embarrassing. Nothing comes out, I believe. I don't believe anything comes out of those slots in the bottom. I think that's just... It's a nice bit of flavour that those are areas where they can put traps, should they so choose. But in the empty areas, Cortex chooses not to. That platform right there is the Skull and Crossbones platform. We'll see that anytime we get to this point in the level without losing a life. I read in some cheat books when I was playing Crash Bandicoot 3 that the Skull and Crossbones appeared only when you had everything else from that level. So when you had the crystal, the box gem, and the relic from a level, the Skull and Crossbones platform would appear, but that isn't the case. They appear only when you haven't died up to that point in the level. Those fireplaces are a dick because they're kind of hard to get the pattern down. It's safe to... There's 2 boxes on top of that, below that TNT crate, so it's nice and safe to spin it. And there's just extra lives everywhere. set of stairs, made a little harder by those. You have a fairly small window, and you can jump on that, push her to open that block there, and get a few more boxes. You can see the level exit is well in sight now. And once more under this little crusher. And that's all the boxes. And we're out. Like I said, I just really enjoy that level. And it gave me a lot of trouble as a kid, but playing it as an adult, it's not particularly challenging, just a lot of fun. So on to the next level, Tsunami, and we're already off to a flying start because we're playing as Coco. This level's going to show off a few more things about Coco, and also, for the first time, we've just collected 3 masks, which means we now have invincibility. This basically allows us to be a complete boss and run through everything. Unfortunately, we kind of needed that box I just broke. So, yeah. The thing about Coco is, as I mentioned before, she doesn't get any of Crash's extra abilities, so she doesn't have the double jump. Why this is, I honestly have no idea. It's one of the few drawbacks to Coco's levels, that she has her basic loadout and that's it. So, one death later, we're ready to actually go through this properly. I'm not entirely sure whether you can spin kick those. I think you can, but given that I wasn't sure, I wasn't willing to take the risk. Fish are easily dealt with, just a quick spin. They occasionally flop a little higher, which can catch you off guard sometimes. And I think if you keep the bounce going, you can get a constant bounce combo going off those boxes and fish, which is very useful later on. If you're standing too close when you sweep kick those, the TNT will land on your head. This is absolutely ridiculous, and I'm much more careful with it there. There's an Aku Aku crate on top of it, which I don't break there for some reason. But, moving on to the bonus level. This is another fairly simple bonus level. Again, filled with explosives. We won't see nearly as many nitros in a row in Coco's level because, once again, it doesn't have the extra abilities, so Coco doesn't have the sneak. I believe with the sweep kick, if you're standing right up next to the pile of boxes, it will crush 2 of them, whereas if you're standing slightly further away, you'll only catch 1. It's a very imprecise science, and one I really don't want to try and rely on at any point. So now we come to why the level's called Tsunami. We have our first chase with Coco, and it's on the scooter, which has a whole other set of problems. And that TNT is a bitch. So once more. This section is very short and very easy. But it does serve as a good notice that once you've completed the bonus level, once you've stepped onto the... I think I mentioned this before. Once you step onto the end platform of the bonus level, it doesn't matter whether you've got boxes left, whether there's stuff you want to go back in and get, you can't go back to the bonus level, regardless of whether you kill yourself. So like the Jeep in Jungle Rumble, the scooter needs to accelerate to actually outpace. The scooter needs to accelerate to outpace the Tsunami. And I had a little trouble trying to figure out what that was. I initially thought it might be X, but that was jump. I thought it might be square, because that's spin, it's the other primary button you're pressing all the time, but no, it's circle. So a bit of classic Final Fantasy syndrome. Final Fantasy VII at least. The button you think it does, it's circle instead. So this whole chase sequence is fairly simple. A lot of the obstacles are small and not really going to threaten you very much. And again, just like before, you can ignore the boxes because the wave will break before you. There's a checkpoint there because of that blue gem platform. So the checkpoint before you get on the blue gem platform, and I've missed 3 boxes. Usually when I'm editing these, I'll spot boxes that I've missed, but in this one I have no earthly idea where those 3 boxes are. So that's something we'll figure out when we come back here for the box gem.
I have a taste for some deep-fried bandicoot.
He's great. Just Pyro is great. So, who liked the bike racing levels in Crash Warped? The correct answer to that is nobody. Seriously, if you liked those levels, I don't know what to say about you as a person, really. Just like that's just bad. These levels, however, in the Jeep, far more palatable. Still pretty bad, but one thing I noticed when watching the video back is that the cars are being driven by some familiar faces. I recognised Tiny Tiger and Dingo Dial driving in 4th and 3rd position. Engine was in 2nd, and Dr. Entropy is the car in 1st, or was the car in 1st until I blasted past him. So as with the bike levels in Crash 3, it's going to be much easier on you if you just ignore all the boxes your first time through and just focus on getting the crystal. And the Jeep will generally have enough speed to get over those holes without too many problems. The course is short, the crystal is easily acquired, the box gem will be a completely different matter, but we can worry about that when we come to it. And now it's time for the Atmosphere to become a bitch. This is Eskimo Roll. Snow levels generally always arse. Snow levels in a big ball, extra levels of arse. The main features of this are these like really thin domed platforms. Make those areas a bitch to navigate. That's Tiny Tiger, just blocking our way. Enemies in these levels can be spun, not necessarily spun, but at least rolled over, provided they're not doing anything particularly special. That checkpoint, I almost forgot about it. Naturally, going down any of those holes is an instant kill. Touching the water, the icy water there, also pretty much instant kill. So given there's pits everywhere, this is one of those levels where, unlike Bamboozled, you really can't, there's really nowhere in this level where you can just blast through, which makes it a lot less fun when you're, especially if you're trying to go for the box gem at the same time as the crystal. There's nowhere really you can blast through, which I think just makes it a worse designed level, because as you saw with that little shallow pool there, it's going to be so easy to run into those shallow pools without even knowing they're there if you're trying to blast. So you end up forcing yourself to go slower. There's random nitro crates dotted around, which are a pain in the ass to navigate. Just as with water levels in most games, in this level, everything just seems designed to slow you down. And I get the idea of the Atmosphere levels is for more careful, more precise controlling, but nothing about this level, nothing wrong with this level is anything the fault of the Atmosphere. I have no problems with the way the Atmosphere controls, but just the level design is, I think, just so wrong with how I believe the Atmosphere should control, how Atmosphere levels should be designed. Dingo Dial is there, he's in a few places in this level just raining down fire. that naturally will kill us instantly. I was desperately looking for fun in this level, so I decided to ramp off that little quarter pipe there. It was fun. It scratched an itch. Over those random fire pits, there's another box tucked off to the side there. I dropped back to see if there might be another one. You can't go under that pipe, so I think the idea is Cortex is trying to industrialise this area, which, art's a point for that. I don't blame him. These moving platforms are reasonably interesting. There's this nice little brake platform here. You can't stop exactly in it, but it provides a nice little resting spot if you want to just put down the controller to scratch yourself. At this point, I start to go up here and then figure they wouldn't make that as long as it is if there wasn't something back here. So you go across, and this little rest platform moves across, so you can get the one extra life box. I can only imagine how many controllers were thrown in frustration by people getting to the end of this level and realising I've missed a box and I don't know where it is. Because, as I mentioned in Tsunami, that really is the most annoying thing, when you miss a box and you don't know where it is. Entropy's up there, just firing bolts of, I believe, time energy is his thing. Those little pipes there, if you go into them, they'll shoot you up and through. So if you fall off here and onto the ice, which doesn't kill you, you can just use those to get out. They're a lot of fun to use, and I'll probably be using them when we return to this level. That green exclamation, and one more there to get the gem. And then straight into that trough because I didn't see it until it was too late. So a quick backtrack and a reminder that when you have the gem, or when you have the gem or the crystal, they're yours. You can die as many times as you like and you won't lose the gem or the crystal. So you can just focus on getting to the exit at that point. Not that I remembered that when I was going through the level. And now on to the worst thing.
Hope you brought your sunscreen, 'cause you're gonna burn!
This is the worst thing in the history of video games. This is the helipack, and it's terrible. It controls like arse. The camera in these sections is arse. It's just terrible. It's not interesting, it's not fun to play. It only adds challenge because of the fact that the camera is so terrible. Sure, the camera's behind you, but because most of the time you can't see your shadow on the ground, so you have no sense of perspective, you have no idea of where you are in relation to other stuff in the level, because you can't see anything's shadow. And when you enter this section, it gets even worse, because everything will kill you. Those lights shining from the ceiling, they will kill you for some reason. I believe those pipes, if you touch them, they will kill you. The fire jets coming up, they'll kill you. I believe that grate down there will kill you. I wouldn't be surprised if the rock pillars kill you for some reason. The lasers naturally kill you, but if you go too high or too low, you'll touch that fiery sky or the lava at the bottom and that will kill you. It's just, none of this is fun. You're constantly having to stop to make sure you're in position to actually hit the boxes. And I was just so glad to get to that area and get rid of the helipack. It's just such a terrible, boring gimmick. But it gets even worse because the level, when you've got to the end of it, isn't even that interesting. It's full of dick moves, there's no interesting enemies, there's no interesting set pieces. Just the whole level. The whole level may seem like basic platforming, but it's just boring. Everything in this level we've seen before, mostly in Compactor Reactor. The exclamation mark box fills in a load of nitros. So there we go. You see that extra life box up there on top? I didn't. At least not until I came back past here. You may be able to see that little box there with the eyes on, the invisible box. That turns Crash invisible. Its only real function is to get you through these lasers. And that question mark box up there, yeah, didn't see that either. That will come into play later. So, on to another run, where this time I have got the extra life box I pointed out. Still not got that question mark box though. The thing about that jump is that the little overhanging thing you could see there, you can't jump through that. If you jump into it, you won't clear that little lava. So you have to go to the side of it if you're going to actually clear that jump. It's just such a pointless dick move. It's just bad level geometry, it's bad level design, it's a bad level. And it only gets worse in the bonus stage. That TNT box, as you may have noticed, is on those flickering things, and for some reason, even though I was sneaking there, I triggered the nitros for some reason, and then didn't use my invincibility frames because I was too angry. And then I couldn't find a safe place to stand there, so I got blown up. At least half of the raw video I captured for this is of this level. Like a good 20 minutes is just this level. So you think of how long I'd been playing it by the time I got to this point, I was so sick of the level. And that just makes it even worse. It's a long level. It's a long level with nothing interesting in it. So here I'm trying to get onto that TNT crate to trigger it. And here I spot this little slope down here, so I finally have somewhere to stand. There's 2 extra lives there. Kinda nice. They know you're going to be losing lots because it's a bad level. So they give you them. So they fill up and we get to move on to the next little section. Those fire jets at the side are annoying. They're very rarely going to be retracted when you get to them, so most of the time you're just going to end up stood, stopped, waiting for them to get out of your way. In this X-ray section, those lights up there don't kill you. I thought they did. I figured, hey, they're going to kill you. And that box is a dick. You jump from too close, you're going to hit the bottom of it and fall into the lava room, so the best way is just to double jump it. Thankfully, I don't know if this is just my eye being so honed, but nitro crates and this Aku Aku crate were immediately noticeable to me. Because the nitro crates jump up and down as one unit, whereas the Aku Aku crates kind of bulges, so you can... It's a nice little thing to have that there. Beyond just a nitro crate that says nitro on it. I thought for sure that exclamation mark would just fill in a bunch of nitro crates, but no, it's a nice big box, which I kind of needed. So with the invisibility, you can run through lasers, so it's nice little bit there. Still not enough to save this level. Wall of nitros for no real reason. There's a bit of that, and yep. That question mark box before the dickhead jump. I was so consumed by making that jump, I never looked around, never noticed that box, so I was pretty angry at that point to find that I'd gone through all that and I'm gonna have to go through it again just to get the gem. But now we have a decent boss.
Ah, the triumphant hero Crash. reduced to a pile of smoldering ash.
Let's finish this.
See, Pyro has the wisecracks, and Crunch just has generic. I actually have quite a lot of love for Crunch, but it doesn't have the best array of lines. So this is Crushes to Ashes. The basic idea is pretty simple. Crunch will chase us, we'll find the robot suit, and then we'll chase him. It's a nice little to and fro battle. So Crunch throws the rocks at us. They're nice and easy to dodge. The thing about the robot suit is we have this little water gun on it, but you run slower when you're firing with the water gun, so you need to make sure you're up close to Crash before you actually activate the spray. It's a nice little thing, I think, and one of those details that might take you a little bit to figure out. This is another boss that gave me no end of trouble as a kid, but this was my first take of this. This was my first take of this. So, hey, stuff that gave me trouble as a kid doesn't give me trouble anymore. So when Crunch is running from you for the second time, he starts dropping these rocks as he runs, so really you want to get up close to him quickly and spray him as quickly as possible, because once you sprayed him, he sprints off back to the starting point to get his little refill from Pyro. So you can just focus on. So he runs off ahead of you, you have more time to react to the rocks, and they're much easier to dodge. I remember as a kid those rocks in the third phase splitting into two, but I don't know if that's just a PS2 thing, because I played the Xbox version as a kid, but I remember them splitting in two, at least. The rocks he drops start rolling in the third stage, so that's an extra thing to watch out for, as you have slightly less time to react to them. You can still get up to him fairly quickly though, and we get the Death Tornado Spin. This is another one of those mainstay Crash abilities. I'll show it off here, eventually. There it is. It's basically 5 regular spins in a row, and we can use it to glide as well, so let's watch the bad guys get a narc on.
Cortex! Why is that mindless Marsupio still collecting those crystals? He's defeated Rocco and Wawa! I'm beginning to question the value of your super weapon! I don't need another mask's help. I could take this Crash punk out with my metal arm tied behind my back.
Oh, Crunch. Stop being silly. Uka, he will use the elemental masks. No need for you to lose any beauty sleep.
Well, thank God. So that's going to do it. Next time, we'll be entering this little icy world. But for now, I'm going to glide over to the save load screen, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.